What's up everyone? Last night we saw the premiere of Big Brother Canada Season 9 and we are off to a flying start with team captains, endurance comps and already an eviction happening tonight. We've got so much to talk about, so welcome to your Big Brother Canada update. Right before we get started folks, if you are new around here, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button and the bell icon to get notified every single time a brand new upload goes live on the channel. So folks, let's jump right into it with a brief recap of the premiere last night. And I must say, just before we do get started, what a fantastic feeling it is to have some Big Brother back on TV. I think it restores that little bit of balance in the middle of the pandemic that just, we can go to and really enjoy our favourite TV show. So just fantastic there that we've got a bit of that going on, and also just brilliant to see a brand new batch of house guests move in. And I hope we've got a fantastic season ahead of us. But without further ado, let's talk about actually what happened last night. So first things first, Arissa revealed to us who the team captains were, because Canada were given the opportunity to vote for two team captains for the Twister series, where obviously there'll be Team Defender and Team Destiny. So we were revealed that Kiefer and Tina were actually voted as the team captains. So they then moved into the house, just the two of them by themselves, and then they were sent to this sort of secret room, or just a room off to the side, where they were able to view the rest of the house guests moving in. So it was very much sort of spying and gaining intel on who they potentially are going to have on their team, for Big Brother to then tell them, hey, we're doing a schoolyard pick in regards to who's going to be on Team Defender and Team Destiny. So obviously it was their chance. They didn't realise, these other house guests, when they were moving in, that they were going to make this huge first impression on them. They just moved in and were casually chatting, and obviously their true colours were showing up at that point, and Kiefer and Tina were able to go, I want that person, I want that person, I want that person, which moves us on to who was on which team. So here we go folks, these are you'll know them already, but just for a quick recap, this is Team Defender and this is Team Destiny. So with Kiefer as the team captain for Team Defender, he had Jedson, Latoya, Josh, Julie, Rohan and Braden on his team. And then we go to the other side with Tina as the team captain for Team Destiny. She picked Tashawn, Tara, Kyle, Beth, Victoria and Austin for her team. These teams then went on to play in an endurance comp. Yes, an endurance comp on night one, which is brilliant to see. And they were essentially, there was several barrels of so-called toxic sludge, and there was a rope attached to each barrel, and each house guest, apart from Kiefer and Tina, would have to grab hold of this rope and keep hold of that barrel for as long as possible until their arms couldn't hold it anymore, and they'd have to let go. Now Kiefer and Tina did have the power of adding sludge to each of these barrels for the opposing team, making them struggle more, so they'll drop the barrel. The endurance comp did go on for a while, and people were dropping left, right and centre. It was weird, at first, like, it was sort of everyone was competing with the hopes of not being the first to drop, but then once that one person dropped, then everybody started to drop, and they went out quite quickly until we were left with Victoria as the last person standing, leaving Team Destiny as the winner. So congratulations to Victoria there, huge props to her for pulling that one off. So Tina's team will be safe for the week, with one of Kiefer's people heading home, himself included, is one of these people. So they are all nominated for eviction tonight. Right, so folks, even though we've only seen these house guests for about an hour's worth, or if that 45 minutes worth last night, we can still gauge who's pretty much going to be safe and who is likely going to be heading out the door first. There isn't much time. Obviously the house guests have been in the house for about 5 or 6 days now, so they obviously know each other a lot more than we know them right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how the dynamics play out tonight, and I think tonight's episode is definitely going to reveal a lot. But let's just talk for a second, because that's obviously what we do on this channel, about who is going to be potentially going home. So for a start, we'll talk about Kiefer. So with Kiefer as the team captain, he's definitely going to have leverage on his side. People will be going to him because he's in a position of power, and as a result, I don't think people will turn on the team captain. It's the classic thing that would happen on Survivor every single time. Somebody usually assumes the position of leader, and the leader never really gets beheaded first in the tribe, because people need that sort of point where they've got someone to turn to, because you just run around like headless chickens if you don't have the leader around. And besides that, Kiefer just seems like a real nice dude as well. He seems really down to earth, and somebody that I think everybody would get along with. I think for sure I'd get along with him. He just seems really, really genuine, fun and nice, and a good laugh as well. So I would, if I was a gambling man, I would say I would put money on the fact that Kiefer is not going to be going home tonight. Now, okay, let's flip on to someone who I think could be in jeopardy tonight. Let's talk about Rohan for a second. So Rohan in his VT was giving it all confidence and making out as if he's going to be the villain and pulling all the strings and everything like that. But you know what? I don't don't think he made the best first impression. He was one of the last picked in the schoolyard pick. And also, you know, it's the classic sort of thing that happens with this sort of person where they overplay straight out the gate and they come across way too strong. I can guarantee tonight we will see Rowan trying to like get his hand in as many pockets as possible, and, you know, just sticking his finger in many pies as possible. And this is going to come, you know, bite him back, because people will be like, whoa, Rowan's came to me. Then everyone's like, hey, let's get Rowan out because he's the only person who's scrambling. Scrambling looks desperate, and desperate leads to eviction. Simple as that in Big Brother sometimes. So I think Rowan could definitely be in jeopardy if he sits back and, you know, it doesn't really, you know, show much going on. I think he could make it through. I just think he needs to just get his head out the scenario and just stay chill. That's the best thing you can do sometimes, rather than scrambling. I think often the first person to start talking around to people and start to scramble is the person who, you know, it lights the fuse and then the dynamite blows up back on them. So I think Rohan, just take a step back, breathe, and don't let your emotions get into it. Just take chill and stop trying to control the game. I could be totally wrong. He could be the total opposite of that tonight, but from what we've seen of his VT, he needs to do the exact opposite of what he's talked about, especially for week 1. Let's talk about Julie next. So I don't think Julie is going to be going anywhere. I think Julie proved herself socially last night. I think she seemed to be, you know, communicating with quite a lot of people and mingling quite well. And let's be honest, I don't think out of that crowd, Julie would be the first person you'd point to say, let's get out. I just don't think she screams a threat right now as of this point. So I haven't really got much to say on Julie apart from that. I think she's working to go towards a strong social game as well. And I believe she's an influencer on the outside. She can use those influence and skills to her advantage to make people follow her and do what she wants. I truly believe that, and I think Julie's going to be safe tonight, and I don't think she's going anywhere. Now, Jedson is the next house guest we will talk about. So with Jedson, I would say his chances of staying are probably about 75 to 25. I would say he's pretty safe unless he does something that sort of ruffles a few feathers, because he proved himself in the competition and the endurance comp to be definitely a physical threat, and people will, you know, grasp the nettle with both hands and try and take that physical threat out if they've got the opportunity. Now, he seems to have connections on the other side, because it's soon, you know, as soon as he entered the house, he seemed to click with Tashon very immediately, saying that they've got each other's backs, and I think Tashon will, you know, maybe plant a couple of seeds here and there to help him out, and Jedson will be at work one side of the house, Tashon will do the other. I think Jedson's going to be fine, unless he just does something that blows something up or, you know, annoys someone, and then it can all backfire, because it's okay, I'll put a scenario out. So we've got Julie and we've got Jedson. If Julie does something, she's not really going to look like a threat and go, yeah, okay, let's get her out. It's just like Julie's made a little mistake. We'll let it slide for this week. If Jedson makes a mistake because he's a physical threat, people will just go, yeah, let's get him out straight away. So it's very, you know, it determines who you are and what you do. And Jedson is in a scenario in which he needs to be very careful. Thin ice sort of scenario. So he needs to be, you know, a bit like what I said about Rowan, stay stum and not say much, chillax, and then he'll be able to make it to next week easily. Let's talk about Josh next. Now, Josh, it seems to be the consensus on social media that many people think Josh is going to be the first to go home. Now, I don't doubt that. I think that could actually be possible. Josh didn't really seem to communicate much with people last night. Again, we only saw 45 minutes. It could just be the edit. But Josh could certainly be in trouble. We really don't know a lot about these house guests until we see the feeds, because then you get a real sort of look at what the dynamics are like. But if last night was anything to go by, I think Josh could be in trouble. I've got like a top 3 of who I think could potentially be going home, and I think it's Rowan, it's Braden, and it's Josh. I'll get onto Braden shortly, but Josh, yeah, as I said, is definitely one of them. There's just something that I just feel like I don't know if he's going to mingle with many people and be able to get those votes, but I feel like he's quite a chill dude. Sort of, he's got sort of a quite like sort of relaxed vibe about him. But I don't doubt for a second that he'll go into panic mode and try his best to get up. But again, panic mode can backfire on you. There was one thing he said in his VT that I didn't like initially. You know, pre-season, I discussed this in the analysing the cast video, in which he said, if you've got a problem with me, it's your problem. That doesn't work like that in Big Brother. If someone else has got a problem with you, you have the responsibility of sorting that out, because it's going to come get you. Somebody's going to come get you out. It's stupid saying that. It's just, there's no time to take the moral high ground in Big Brother. You've got to sort out and work the house to make sure that nobody is against you, or very little people are against you. So if he's going to have that attitude, then it might work against him. But I don't know. I think that was all talk in the VT, and I think he's actually a lot more chill in what we'll see with him in the house. So potentially Josh is going home. He's not my number 1 pick to go home, but I would say certainly the number 2 pick to go home potentially. Next up, we'll talk about Latoya. Now, Latoya ain't going anywhere, I don't think. She proved herself in the comp to be a strong asset to the team, but not to the point where she looked like a physical threat. She just did very, very well, and people will value that. They'll want to work with her, and she does give up a good vibe as well in regards to a social game. You know, she was talking to quite a few people, and she just seems to... and people were, you know, saying, come on, Latoya, and everything like that in the comp, so I think people are going to be on her side, and I don't think she's going anywhere. I don't really think I've got much more to say on Latoya. I just think she's definitely somebody who's going to go far in the game. I'm going to actually put that out there now. I think she stands a strong chance of making it extremely far. Now, last up on Team Defender is Braden, who I'm leaning towards saying is going to be the first person evicted tonight. Now, I'm not saying it's for certain, but if I had to pick somebody out of Team Defender, it would be Braden. Straight out of the gates in his VT, his attitude is not made for Big Brother, in my opinion. He said he was petty and spiteful. There's no time for that in Big Brother. You're just going to rile people up the wrong way, and it's just... You're literally signing your game away. You might as well sign the contract that says I will not be winning this season of Big Brother. He needs to, if that's the attitude he's going to have, being petty and spiteful, you need to be more analytical and you need to be more strategic when it comes to Big Brother if you want to make it all the way. So if he's going to be, you know, if he's going to be petty and spiteful even after, you know, being the last picked in the schoolyard pick as well, that's not a good sign either. It's easy to just say, you know, let's target these people. Let's think about Big Brother 21 for a moment. You know, when Mickey Jackson was the first... I think he was the camp leader or something like that, and then he banished, I believe it was Jess and Kemi and David and Cliff, and then, you know, week after week those four were actually being put up for eviction. It's easy to put someone up again and again if they were in last position of something, or they were, you know, pushed aside slightly. I know it's not exactly fair, but it's how Big Brother works sometimes, and, you know, with Braden being the last pick and the schoolyard pick, people will find it easy to just go, yep, let's take Braden out, because he obviously hasn't been picked by anyone, and, you know, he's probably, you know, out of the schoolyard pick anyway, being the least valued member of the house. It's plain to see there. So, you know, I think if he continues with that attitude, he could potentially be going. I think he has got potential if he just really gets that sort of mindset out where he's, you know, going to be trying to play, you know, where it's just like, somebody didn't pick him for the schoolyard pick, let's get them out. It doesn't work like that. You need to focus on the game, not on emotions. I know it's extremely difficult, and obviously I haven't been in the house myself, but it's detrimental to your game often. So I think Braden needs to be extremely careful there, and he may just survive tonight's eviction. But as I said, if I was a betting man or a gambling man, I would say Braden could be the first person to go tonight. That is all of your Big Brother Canada updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching, and I really hope everybody did enjoy watching the premiere as well. It's brilliant to have Big Brother back. I am overjoyed to be back in front of the camera, as I always say, chatting about Big Brother. Please let me know in the comments who you believe will be the first to be evicted, and also let me know your favourites, maybe your top 5, your top 3, whatever, or even your top 1. I love to know who everyone's rooting for and who everybody thinks is going to go first. Just any predictions, drop them in the comment section below, folks. But again, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, stay positive, stay healthy out there, guys. But in the meantime, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Do all of that stuff. But until your next Big Brother Canada update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.